the success or failure of most businesses comes down to the people. And if you're able to empower people to, I'm not gonna lie, when we signed our deal, everyone congratulating you really boosts your ego. And I think sometimes it like distorts your like view on the world. For me, the goal was not to just be known as a label owner. It's to be more than that. If I died tomorrow, can I say that I'm impacting people's lives in the way that I want to impact people's lives? The goal was to then create a business where create products that enrich the lives of consumers. And you're seeing how a product can actually transform someone's view of how they feel themselves. And that's really, really impactful. There's no point just creating products and putting it into the marketplace and there's no USP or there's no need for it. When it comes to product, the value is actually, what does this product do for me? Yes, the celebrity is going to bring initial hype and traction, but if the product's not good, they're going to use it once and that's it. You can't build a business from just people using product once. You build a business by like your repeat customers, and
you're not defined by where you come from.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big message that I always want to tell people.
Like you have to be able to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
When you grow up in ends, you don't realize it when you're confident, but you have an audacity to do things that ordinarily most people wouldn't be willing to do.
Welcome to another episode of the podcast. We've got a special guest in the building. I'm very excited about this one. David, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. A bit tired, but yeah, I'm good.
Yeah? Why are you tired?
There's just a lot happening this week. We've obviously Nala's re-announced that it's going into Morrison's and Ocado and Amazon as well, which is amazing for us. And then the brand Syps that we're launching with the rapper Aitch is going into retail next week. So we're excited about that. So everyone's like geared up to obviously make sure that's a good launch. So I haven't been sleeping well. I think I've got Whoop, which obviously I've used to try and help me sleep. And I checked it today and I've only had like 3 hours sleep. So
seriously?
3 hours sleep, yeah.
How are you functioning right now?
I don't know. It's all adrenaline.
That's crazy.
I don't know, yeah. I don't know.
Mad.
I think my body's used to it now.
Yeah.
Like I can survive with like 4 or 5 hours sleep. Like
really?
Consecutively, yeah.
I cannot do that.
But the good thing about me when it sleeps, like when I go to bed, within 5 minutes, I'm conked out. Like it's not a thing where I'm spending an hour in bed, like moving about, all of that kind of things. I'm conked out. And obviously one good thing about Whoop as well, it shows like light sleep, deep sleep. And the good thing is I have a lot of like, in the 5 hours or whatever, I have like, a lot of it is like deep sleep, which is good, which is the most important thing because I could have 8 hours sleep and deep sleep could be like 10%. So,
oh man.
So yeah, but it's not healthy. Everyone says like sleep, and I think I'm happy that because before everyone was like sleep 4 hours, wake up at 4 a.m, do the grind kind of thing. But now you see a lot of people talking about like why sleep's so important. And for me, I realized the importance of it, and I'm trying to improve. Like on weekends, I try to sleep longer to catch up on it. So sleep's important because even everything like every day, like when you're making decisions and stuff like that, I can tell. Like if I have good sleep, I can tell I'm on it. The energy is high. Even when it comes to gym, workouts good. Decisions are being made like great. When I don't have it, I can feel it straight away.
Okay.
You eat badly. The decisions are poor. Like you don't even want to go to meetings and stuff like that.
Same here, man. I feel like that as well. Like I value my sleep more and more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, as I get older, sleep's been coming.
It's probably because you're so excited. The adrenaline, like you said, of this announcement. I think, to be fair, I kind of liken it to, I don't know if you felt like this, but like, you know, with exams, right? Like I remember like a few days before an exam, you kind of dream about the exam, you kind of can't
you said
sleep.
you're excited about exams. I don't know if I was
not excited. No. Not excited, but you.
But all you're thinking about,
do you get what I mean? Like when I say excited, I mean like anxious, should I say? Anxious about it.
You're
so
dreaming about,
that's all you're thinking about. That's all the anticipation until it kind of happens.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like just making sure everything goes right. To perfection and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. We're gonna definitely talk more about that. I guess before, you know, obviously we delve into your story. Who is David?
Oh, in terms of like the brief or like who am I?
I'll say how you on. I don't. To be honest, I don't ever specify that. People find that difficult to answer.
Yeah, it's like
sometimes,
because I'm not someone who talks about myself a lot.
Yeah,
I'm just
same here, which is funny as I find it difficult too.
I just do. But I would say that I'm someone who is purpose driven. Like I think for me, being purpose driven is key to everything I do. personal, professional. So yeah, just being purpose driven, and someone who wants to make an impact in the world. And it doesn't have to be something huge. Just even like saying good morning to someone in the street. And I know Londoners, we don't do that, but soon doing that is like having a little impact. So for me, it's just being purpose driven and focusing on your purpose, and then two, just being like impact driven in terms of like making an impact in ways that you can. And like I said, like having fun whilst doing it, to be honest. Like we only live like one life, as people say. So yeah, having fun doing it, man.
I love that. And where are your parents from?
So they're both from Nigeria. Yoruba.
Oh,
I'm not Yoruba demon though.
I'm not even
and before they start tagging me or whatever, no, that's not me. But yeah, I'm Nigerian Yoruba.
Yeah, were you born in the UK or like, you know?
Yeah, I was born in the UK, so born and bred in the UK in South London. South East London.
South East London. I'm from South East London.
Yeah.
How was it like growing up, and I guess what area did you kind of grow up in?
So I grew up in New Cross, and it was interesting, man. It was interesting. I think being from South equips you to deal with life. Like there's a lot of like obstacles and hardships you go through, and I could definitely tell that being from South London definitely equips you and gives you this kind of like I won't say buffer, but like a shield to like all of the things that happen, because you've seen a lot of things, and you're like, compared to what I've seen and what I've grown up in, what I'm doing now it's pretty easy, to be honest, kind of thing. And I think having Nigerian parents was great because I like to think I'm a great negotiator. And I think even my team, like anytime there's something to negotiate, they go to me. And I've obviously in my career I've done it like throughout. And when I was thinking about like why am I a good negotiator, whatever like that, and I was like speaking to my mum one time, and we were just talking about like childhood and stuff like that. And every Saturday she used to take me to like Deptford Market. And you know, Nigerian parents, like even the price is there. She will try and negotiate the price. Like, it could say it's £1, and she will try and negotiate the price. And then from a young age, obviously, I saw that kind of thing where she negotiated and how she did and how she charmed the person and saying, do this for me and all of that kind of things. And I learned that from that thing. And to think that you learned that from your mum buying stuff in Deptford Market is a thing. But I'm just being honest. Yeah, that's what I learned in terms of like negotiating. And obviously, as I've done it throughout the years, I've learned in terms of like people like finding out what they want, listening quite well. And obviously, like I said, at the end of the day, a good negotiate or a good like deal at the end for everyone is where both parties feel that they've won in some shape or form. So 100%. Yeah, I love that.
I love that, the fact that you said that you let that ring out. Nah, because I could definitely relate. That's so interesting. Especially trying to get the discounts all the time on everything, on every little thing.
There's sometimes the guy would be like, no, there's no discount. And the way mom used to do it, I used to like, wow. I used to just look at her and think, wow. I definitely got that like entrepreneurial like negotiation kind of thing from her. Yeah,
mad,
she was very entrepreneurial.
So how did, I guess like in terms of school, did you go to school in New Cross?
So funny enough, I went to primary school in St. Joseph, which is in Deptford. I then went to a secondary school called St. Thomas the Apostle, which was in Peckham.
Okay, yeah, I know.
Which obviously, if you're from New Cross and you go to school in Peckham.
Back then.
And then I went to Christ the King, which is a school in Lewisham. So my school life was mainly built in Southeast London, to be honest.
Okay, so all growing up there. I guess what were you like in terms of like school? Did you enjoy it? Were you quite attentive in school?
I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. I personally think that I am someone who works smart, and I think sometimes that annoyed my teachers. But for me, some people might agree or not. I just like to think, what's the easiest way to get to like what your goal is. So for example, if it's like, maths exam or whatever, I would obviously earmark who are the best at maths and obviously pitch them. Oh, actually, you know what a good idea. Rather than everyone studying individually, we should all study as a group. And then obviously you're learning a lot from them, like in terms of like how they work things out, because there's certain like techniques and skills that people use to like work things out or to do maths equations that you're thinking, wow, like my teacher didn't teach me this. How do you know this kind of thing? And you just pick up those things like quite easily, and stuff like that I would do to obviously make sure I did great in like my exams. And I was like a people person. I played football in school. I wasn't the most, I wouldn't say I was the most like like noisiest or talkative in class and stuff like that. But we all do banter, like we're all a little bit cheeky kind of thing. So yeah, I enjoyed school, man. I enjoyed school. I learned a lot. I had some great friends that I still have now.
Okay.
For school. So yeah, man, it was a good experience, man.
It's crazy that you said that. I've never heard anybody say that they that they for exam that they round up everybody so that they can contribute.
You have to be smart, man. You have to be smart, man.
My God, that's crazy.
You have to be smart, man. I learned about collaboration and all of that kind of thing early, man, because my thing is there's obviously going to be smarter people than you, like all the time.
Yeah.
And for them as well, they actually found it helpful because when you're teaching someone something you've learned, it becomes more innate in you.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh wait, how do I teach this to this person who might know nothing about it? And then you have to break it down in your head and go, okay, cool, this is the best way for me to teach it to this person.
Yeah.
And then from that, they obviously understand whatever problem or whatever it is in a better light. So it was a win-win for both, to be honest. So I didn't just gain; they gained as well. Because they got good grades as well. So
that's mad. Yeah. That's mad. Okay, so did you actually end up going to like college? Or
I went to college, went to uni, did international business with law.
Okay. Mad.
Got a 2-1, and I did the vote of thanks speech as well.
Okay.
So you know where you do the valedictorian?
Yeah.
I think it's called, where you speak in front of like all your peers. And
Isn't that like top?
Yeah, I don't know why they chose me, but they got me up there, boy.
Is it?
No, I think obviously one reason was because luckily, well, not luckily, I like to always say that lucky, but I think obviously hard work plays a lot to it. Is I was listed as a future leader on Powerful Media's list of like students, and I think it's like top 100 students in the UK.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, check it out. It's Powerful Media. They've got one for like older people, so they've got like the Power List.
Okay.
Which obviously shows like the top like black entrepreneurs, business people, etc., executives in the country. And then they basically got a student one where it's like the top 100 black students in the country, and they obviously call them out and stuff like that. And it was me and actually one of my friends as well who got listed from my uni. So I think that was one of the reasons why they how did
you get on that list though? Do you know?
I don't even know. I think someone just nominated me, to be honest. And I was like, I think it was first year, obviously everyone enjoys. That's just a write-off year. Yeah. But if you're going to uni this year, like it's not a write-off year. It's like but because obviously when they shouldn't tell you that your first year doesn't count towards your grade. They should not tell you that, because some of you are like, the last minute dissertation or coursework or whatever like that. Yeah. So first year, I think, like I said, I wanted to enjoy like uni life because it's the first time that you leave home. First time I left home and you don't have your parents, so you're like, what is this? This is a new environment. I can have friends over and there's not even worrying about my mum's here or anything like that. Like you're more free. Yeah. So one, you're adjusting to that kind of like new environment. Obviously new people from different areas. Like before, like South London, like a lot of the people you know are from like your area. There might be some people here and there. Like if you have a cousin or whatever that might be in another area, you might know people there. Yeah. But predominantly, a lot of the people you know are going to be from like your area. So when you go to uni, you're having people from like obviously North London, West London, not even just that, Scotland, Birmingham, Manchester, all of these different type of people with different backgrounds who are different from you. You come into this like environment where you're meant to learn, and it's like you're just adjusting to it. Yeah. So that was great. Like again, built like great friendships, and I think I was very entrepreneurial then. Like, and I always tried to think like, where does it come from? And I don't know, like I think it obviously comes from my mum because mom's like that. But basically, I set up something called, and I wish I stick to it, like because obviously I'm seeing things like, what's it called now? I actually use it now. I forgot what it's called. But basically, Style and Go was a hairdresser on the go. So basically, you would go on a website. Yeah. It was only for like my uni. You go on a website and say you want to book a hairstylist, a barber, a makeup artist or whatever, and they'll come to your
okay, like a mobile one.
Yeah, like a mobile one. I forgot what the company's called now, but there's a big company now, and I'm like, if I kept at doing that till now, the company would be worth like millions and millions. And it's so funny where an idea that was probably like, I don't want to like expose my age, but maybe like 10 years, 15 years ago, I had that idea, and obviously you're seeing this idea now like doing like amazing, like one of the companies called Urban, they do like massages, like you can book a massage and they'll come to your house and do your massage and stuff like that. And obviously having that idea then, it was like, raw. And I think it was a smart idea, and I think a lot of people thought it was. But I think when you're young, you're like, I'm gonna do this for like a year or so, and then go and try and work and all of that kind of thing.
So why did you stop it then? What was the reason for like not doing that?
I think it was just patience, man. I think, and I think there's this kind of like glass ceiling mindset.
Yeah.
So obviously in uni, it's great and it's doing small, like, but in your head you're like, you want it to be like everywhere kind of thing, but then you don't have the resources to obviously make it everywhere. So for me, I'm like, can I do this by myself? And I had a business partner as well who was a woman who helped in terms, because obviously I don't know all about these things. Like she obviously helped in that thing, but I think that the glass ceiling mentality, like this is how much we can go. And then I'm thinking like, do I want to do this forever and it being all right, or do I want to do something and it obviously be amazing? In hindsight now, like, you know, I should have stick to it if I did it from then and what it could be now. But obviously God has put me on different paths to now. And obviously I think even just as and obviously we're still facing it now, even as a black entrepreneur, like how do you, or where do you even go? Like I didn't have the knowledge or wisdom to even talk about like investment. Like what's a seed round or a pre-seed round or friends and family round? I had no idea what that is at that age. It's only like recently where I've obviously got to know all of these kind of like terminologies and these what happens. And I think it is unfortunate that coming from like a black household, we don't know about these things. And obviously there's other like ethnicities that probably do know about it and they're getting funded like quickly. But I'm happy that I feel like the next generation of kids, one, obviously I feel like there's an affluent black community. So doing like friends and family rounds, or someone say like, I can go to like, if my son or daughter was come with an idea and they were like, oh, Dad, I want to raise like a friends and family round, I can go, you know what, I'm going to put the first money in. And then I've got my friends that will put money in because they trust me of what I done and they trust you because of that. And getting like the first like 100, 150K is massive for a new business. And
it's true. Yeah.
For them to go out into the market and try and find that money would be like very, very, very difficult. But if they can go, you know what, my dad's putting the first money in and he's got friends who can put like 10K, 15K into that business, then it helps our community. So I feel in the next few like years, we're gonna see a lot of like black founders raising their friends and family rounds, which is obviously that just the beginning part of like getting your like idea and get product market fit right until you like get that right. Then you can go to the pre-seed rounds. And then when you're going pre-seed round and going to other investors or external investors, then you can say, we've got traction, we've obviously got product market fit because we've got customers that are using our products. And then it's an easier funding life cycle rather than try to go out from like scratch. And a lot of people ask me like, how do you raise money and stuff like that? And I told them it's not easy. It's actually not easy to do it. But I think like, as we grow that as a community and we have people in like positions of power, I think it's going to be much, I don't want to say it, but yeah, I think it will be easier.
Yeah.
For the next generation of like black founders.
Yeah, you know what? You're right, actually. It's definitely true that at uni, I mean, even people talking about starting a business was definitely not really a thing. I think most people were like, yeah, we're just going to go and get jobs, right? So there's no way. Investing, I don't think I even knew it was a concept.
Oh, me
at
too.
Uni. I don't think I knew it was a concept. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't think I knew it was a concept. So you're right. I think there's definitely a bit of a lack of advantage. I was going to ask you, like, you know, obviously growing up in like, you know, New Cross, and, you know, then going to uni, I guess, how did you kind of make sure you kept your focus? Because I feel like when I was like going back to ends, at times, I like I said, I grew up in South East London as well. You know, it can be a bit distracting sometimes, you know what I mean? Because it's like almost a different world. Like you're in uni, people are a certain way, you meet wealthy people, you meet people from all around the UK, you meet people from other countries, right? So yeah, I guess, how did you find that?
It's a very interesting world because like, I'm right where it's like it's two different worlds, and you got friends, and I feel sometimes you feel like you don't want to feel like you're leaving them behind. Yeah, but you can start to feel that. Like I said, I kept like relations like with my friends, so I didn't want to feel like I'm leaving them behind doing that.
Yeah.
But I knew from the jump like what my goal was, and I think my parents, regardless of how strict they were very, very clear to me in terms of like, this is a great opportunity for you. Don't like allow like your environment to like mess it up for you. And I think for me, luckily, I had the mindset that I was like, you're right, to be honest. I don't want to be in a situation where I don't like leave where I am. And I think one of the good things that my parents done for me is that they allowed me to travel very early. Okay. Because sometimes when you're from a certain area and that's all you see, that's all you think that's in the world. Like a lot of people who might be in that space might think like London, not even the South London, but London is my like thing. And then when you go to another country, you're like, wait, what? Like people live differently here, the culture's different, the food is different. And it definitely spurned my love for like traveling. So I like to travel, like I love like going to new countries and experiencing their cultures. And just because it just opens my eyes to like the world is bigger than my environment. So I think it was that I wanted to obviously make something of myself. I was very ambitious from very, very young. So I didn't want to just be stuck in an environment that I feel wasn't conducive to where I wanted to go. So yeah, I was like firm on that. And to the point where I didn't go back home loads because I didn't want to obviously be dragged into whatever nonsense I could have been dragged into.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And being the oldest as well, I think like, I wanted to set like a good example for my siblings.
Yeah.
I
definitely understand that and hear that. I think it's like, it's crazy because it seems like your parents instilled a lot of values within you. Like, you know, obviously letting you know is a good opportunity. Like you said, traveling, to know that the world is a bit of a bigger place. You know what I mean? And the thing is, I think my love for traveling comes from my parents because my parents travel a lot. Yeah. I think, and we traveled a lot because they traveled a lot. So I think that's where it kind of comes, like you said, it like opens your mind to thinking actually, there's people living good out here, you know what I mean?
And I respect them so much because to take a family to fly a family or go on holiday with family, it's a lot of money. It's
expensive.
Yeah, and the guys, they're not rich. They wasn't rich by any doubt. But they knew the importance. I just felt, obviously didn't say it, but I just felt they knew the importance of us doing that. Yeah. They knew that to come out of the environment would be beneficial for us. And like I said, that's some of the things that they did that I was like, you know what, I commend them from doing that, to be honest. I even commend them for coming to the UK because I remember I went back to Nigeria when I was burying my grandma at the time, and we actually went to the village. And I had just a moment where I just like stopped and just stared at the village, and I was like, if my parents didn't decide to go to the UK, all the kids like running around and stuff like that, or the adults that I saw, that could have been me. That could have been, because it's only my mum's sister who came as well to the UK, and none of my dad's family came to the UK. It was just only them, well, my mum and my dad and her sister that came to the UK. And if they were just like, similar to like, if they was just stuck in a environment, someone said, oh, like, why are you going to go to UK? Like, you've got a cushy life here, or you've got a nice life here, like you can go up the ladder in Nigeria and do your thing, whatever. They were like, no, let me go into a new environment and let me make something of myself. Like, no qualifications at the time, because my mum and my dad came here and obviously did uni here. Nothing to their name, really and truly, just hustled their way into the UK and try to make a environment that we could thrive, to be honest. And I think they've done a great job at doing that. And I think taking that from them is like, they came, imagine coming to another country, like, obviously it might be easy now. Imagine coming to another country, you have really nothing. You're going to another country that you don't know. That is cold. Coming from Nigeria, it's hot. You're enjoying life. And you come to this, it's cold. Yeah, it's freezing. And plus all the racial things that happening at the time as well. Doing like low-level jobs. Yeah. But in your head thinking, you know what? I'm going to try and make a better life for my kids. Like having that mentality, like I can only be in awe of them because even I've done a lot and I've seen like the hardships of life. Like I can't even imagine what they went through. And you know, sometimes where you want to enjoy, or your parents are like, oh, go read your book, or they want you to be have a certain career. Before I didn't get it, and I was like obnoxious to like, I want to do. And obviously my mum's a nurse, and she wanted me to be like a surgeon. It's never gonna happen at all. But I understand why she wanted to do that, because you have to think they essentially sacrificed their life and their dream. Remember their dream to come here to make sure that you can have like a good life.
Yeah.
And when you think about they sacrificed their dream, because you have to remember, sometimes you have to remember that our parents are people. They have dreams, they have ambition, but they said, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice my dream and my ambition to make sure that my kids have a good life. And I can only commend it, because now I'm like, imagine I had to sacrifice my dream, like the idea I had, and do that. It would be very hard. It would be hard.
Yeah.
So for them to do that, I'm like, yeah, I have so much. And I think that's why they were strict on me in terms of like, they wanted to make sure that I did this and did that. And I think that's why one of my proudest moments is like doing the vote of thanks speech, because looking at them and seeing them, and like for them, obviously graduating is probably one of the biggest achievements I can do.
It's a massive achievement.
Even if I do everything else and what I've done,
man.
that, and then seeing that, I think like it was really like a great moment to see that they were proud, and I can see in their eyes, they were like, you know what, all the hard work or working 2 jobs was actually worth it to see this moment. So yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I wanted to talk about, so you went to Viacom, right? Which is a media conglomerate, from what I was reading. Yeah. How did you end up getting there? Studying international business and law. Like, how did you end up in like a big?
So for me, I'm someone who's like, when I go into the job market, I wanted to have like enough skills and qualifications that people couldn't ignore me. And because my dad said from an early age, and he drilled this in us, in me and my siblings, that as a black person, you have to work twice as hard. And again, like I said, from the mentality of that, I like to think like, how do I get to my goal as quick as possible? The working hard is an element to it, but like for me, I always think of the other person. Like even like when like it all comes down to negotiation at the end of the day, because you're always selling something. And I always think about like, okay, cool. Whoever's at the other end of the table or the other end of the phone, like what would they feel or what would they want to see? So as an employer, I'd be like, okay, well, if I was an employer and they wanted to employ me, they have to see certain things in me, qualifications or experience. And one of the qualifications I did was a qualification or a master's in entertainment law.
Okay.
And not everyone has like entertainment law, because it's like a specialist type of law that you did. But I love contracts. Obviously, I love negotiation, so it fitted quite nicely. And I applied for the role, and I think because I was like, obviously used to play football, and I talked about like how I supported Man United actually. And the power of like brand. And the reason I supported Man United, because I remember there was a commercial with Ryan Giggs. It was like a Watsits commercial or something like that. And all I remember is how amazing he was. I didn't know who the club was at the time because I was young, but I just really liked this player. And I was like, who is this player? And from that's why I supported Man United, even though they're doing the best now. Hopefully, God willing, they do better.
Might come back.
Yeah. And I talked about like why I fell in love with like branding and how branding influences buyer behavior or buyer actions. And I explained that, and I talked about my entertainment law thing. Because sometimes when you send a CV, you'll just send on my qualifications, stuff like that. But then when you use your education or your experience to explain why you'd be good for a job, then the person will read it and go, this guy's amazing. Like he gets it, or he will bring a lot of value to what we're doing. So worked there, and it wasn't a brilliant experience. Like coming from uni and working in a big like MTV to work at like your first job, like that's like people's dreams. And MTV was amazing. Like learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. Saw celebrities. Like it was actually a sick like opportunity. And I think like the group of friends that I made there, like even some of them I'm still speak to now. Like it was great. Like I learned a lot. I gained a lot. I learned, especially like working in a big corporate environment. I was never going to work in a bank because a lot of my friends work in like banks and all of that kind of things. And for me, I was never like a suit person, as you like to say. So wearing suits, all that kind of thing. I was like more of the casual kind of thing, and I couldn't see myself working in a bank. It wasn't going to be for me. It was always going to be like in media or entertainment, some form, and then obviously MTV came up, and then
So what were you doing, I guess, at Viacom at the time?
So I worked in a couple of departments, but the one where I left was I worked at a company. I worked at a department called Consumer Products.
Okay. Okay.
And it's so funny because it's a proper free circle,
That's what you're doing
360 now, basically. Essentially what consumer products is, obviously Viacom has a lot of IPs. And one of the big entities it has is Nickelodeon. And Nickelodeon has great IP, like it has SpongeBob SquarePants, it has Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, so all the shows you were
all
watching,
of the shows that
you
you're
were part
watching,
of that.
yeah, all of that. And you realize a lot of money is made from the products.
Yeah.
You think a lot is from the money, but when you look at the products, so there was like plush toys, plates, bags, pencil cases, all of those kind of things. So essentially my role was to obviously help in terms of the brand and policing and all of that kind of things. And it was a great like brand building like opportunity because I got to see how people build brands, not only in the UK, but in other entities because I worked in a global team. So got to work with people from all over the world and doing deals on that front and making sure that partners were using our brand guidelines and stuff like that. And I think that's why I say God is a craftsman, because the way he put me in that role and helped me learn about like product, brand guidelines, branding at that early age to obviously use into what I'm doing now is like, and I remember I didn't even clock it. I was just one day I was just thinking about like my life and then it all came, I was like, wait, God, you're something, because to do all of that is crazy. It's crazy. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad.
That is mad. And you've done it at it's such a niche thing.
Yeah.
To do for like someone that graduated from uni. Most people don't do something that niche. Like you say, okay, people go into like the normal careers like lawyer, accountancy, tech nowadays and, other fields, a very defined role. But it's not often that somebody say, I'm going into the entertainment industry and I'm going to start looking at like branding, concepts like that and products and stuff like that. It's very, very niche. It's
very like,
wow.
To be honest, I was the only person I knew who did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't.
Yeah, it's not someone.
But at the time, I was like, I love it, and I just didn't realize like how beneficial it would be for like now.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So then I read that you then went to Hit Entertainment.
Yeah.
Is that like, I don't know much about Hit myself. Is it a very similar type of...
Yeah, it's a very similar type of role, but I think the good thing about me working at Hit was it was my first role that I was involved in like acquisition. So at the time, Hit was getting acquired by Mattel. Okay. Mattel was the big toy company.
Are they the ones that do Barbies?
They do Barbie, they do like multi-billion company. And obviously learning that in terms of like acquisition, how to integrate a team into like a big business, all of that kind of thing. So that's why so when I think about like my life and my career, I just see how God was shaping me to learn different things that will help me like now. And sometimes I just like some jobs, like some days you'll be like, God, why am I doing this? Like it's true, like why am I doing this? But now I'm like, okay, I get it. I see you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So what I read was that you grew the consumer department revenue dramatically. Do you remember how much you grew it from to what? From X to Y? You remember? I know it's probably
the number specifically, but it was a huge amount. So it was like 7 figures to like 8 figures.
Really?
Yeah. So it was, but it wasn't just only me.
Yeah.
But it was obviously the whole team. But I think it was just like realizing the value of a IP, and figuring out the best way to monetize it.
Okay.
Or think of like creative ways to monetize it. And that's why I moved on to my next role where I worked at a sports agency, essentially working with athletes and building their commercial businesses. And just thinking of different ways to monetize essentially their brand. So yeah, worked in like, essentially my career has been working with personalities or IP and figuring out the best way to monetize it, to be honest. So yeah. So everyone thinks like, oh, you went into media, you went into music, you went into sports, you went into entertainment. But there's obviously a theme in terms of everything I do. And to be honest, if I'm being really, really honest, when I was at MTV, essentially what I'm doing now is roughly what I wanted to do back then. Obviously things have changed a little bit, but I wanted to create like like a entertainment like VC kind of thing, working with celebrities to monetize like their IP and stuff like that. And obviously to see what I'm doing now is amazing, and I feel it was good. And the way I've obviously like I've been very strategic in terms of like what industry I go into is because I wanted to obviously build relationship in those different industries so that when I am where I am now, I have like a lot of like contacts. So it's not a thing where I am chasing, like how do I get to this person or that person? Like my contact list is quite good that I can reach pretty much like anyone in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much
crazy.
anyone in the UK. And then in the US, I've got a good like contact base as well, which is great because obviously, like I said, when you're pitching your company to people, it's good that there might be like a warm intro, warm lead already, or there's a connection there already, rather than it being cold and no one knows who you are. So
okay, that's crazy.
Yeah,
because obviously you've worked in a lot of places, right? Obviously you said Viacom, I saw Warner Music, you said MTV, Nickelodeon, and obviously with like, you know, like celebrities. So I guess my question is, right, obviously you're doing well in your career. So, and I'm sure a lot of people also like, why risk it? Why did you risk, I guess, the safety of a job to be like, you know what, I'm gonna start a business?
Do you know what? It's like I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit within, and I feel like, so I don't know if they're watching or not, I always had like a side hustle.
Okay.
Like even when I had like the full-time jobs, I was always trying to figure out something out. Like I've had so many different types of businesses that have, some worked, some failed, but it was a good like learning curve for me to go through all the failures of all those like businesses I tried to create. And I feel like for me at the time when I was leaving a sports agency, I made a decent amount of money. It was like, do I want to stay in what I'm doing, or do I want to like give it a go? Because I heard someone say something and I was like, that really changed like my perception of life. Like if you're 80 and you're about to die and someone said, did you live a good life or did you have a fulfilled life? You don't want to go back and say, you know what, when I was 21 or 22 or 23, I had an opportunity to start my business, but I was so scared I wanted to have to just go safety. And for me, I don't now, if I'm in that position, I can't say that. I was like, I'm a full risk taker, so I can take the risk, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then obviously you learn from it and you go again. Obviously, as you get older, that kind of risk tolerance reduces a lot because obviously you got like more responsibilities and stuff like that. But that's why I wanted to do it like at a young age, that I mess up, learn a lot, so that when I get older, I'm not making the same mistakes that I did back then. Obviously, you still make mistakes, however old you are, but that mistakes, the type of mistakes you make, obviously, are different.
Yeah.
Okay,
I respect it. So I read also that you exited a few businesses. What was the first business that you exited?
So the first one was a business. It was a stock music business.
Okay.
I don't know if you know stock music. So basically, stock music is essentially, you know, when you hear like music on like YouTube or Instagram or whatever, where it's not really like music you play on Spotify enough. It's just like
background music,
whatever. Basically, I worked with someone to create a platform where people can use a license-free music on their like YouTube or any content they created, or even like movie studios and stuff like that. A lot of movie studios use it, and it was a great business. It was a great business. It was like recurring, but what happened is like again, like glass ceiling, and I think again, as a black like founder at that time, is like you're doing well and you're scaling. Someone offers you something, and you're like, this is actually a good deal. This is actually a good deal, and you're like in that moment where you're like,
yeah.
And obviously, it wasn't. I'm not gonna say it was like a huge amount of money. It was a decent amount of money, but you're like, raw. Like I've created something from scratch, basically.
Yeah.
And obviously now someone's put real value in it. And
what,
like,
is it still alive today?
Yeah, still alive today. But it's gone through, like, I wanted to actually buy it back, to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to buy it back.
It's not Pixabay, is it?
Huh? No, not Big Spade. No. I wanted to buy it back because I think I know how to like the person who has it now because it's gone. It went to someone and they sold it to another company.
Okay. What, like immediately or?
No, I think it was like a couple of years and stuff like that. Okay. And what happens sometimes is that everyone has an idea of what they want. They can add value to the business for it to like grow.
Okay.
But what happens is they have obviously their ideal strategy. It doesn't really work, and then it maintains like a baseline of income, of monthly recurring revenue, and most people, they want to try and grow that, but they try strategies, but it doesn't work. Obviously now, in terms of like there's more content creators, there's more videos and stuff like that. And obviously I think in terms of my contact list, and I'm probably a better business person than I was before, I feel I know the best way to unlock some of the value I feel is missing in it. Okay. So yeah, hopefully I'm in discussions now, so we never know.
Are you? Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you're allowed to tell us how much you sold for. If you're in discussions, it's probably private. Oh my God.
But it's not something like, it's not, I'm in a space where focus is important.
Yeah.
So if I was to do it, it wouldn't be something I would run. I don't even have the time or headspace to run it at all. And like I said, my focus is obviously making sure like CCV does amazingly and all the brands do amazingly. But like I said, you have like the strategy.
Yeah.
You give it to someone who you feels amazing can do it, and then you obviously leave them to do it. And I'm so big, like I think now I'm not like old, but I realize the power of people. I know we were talking about it before, but for me, in terms of like the success or failure of most businesses comes down to the people.
Yeah.
And if you're able to empower people to align with your vision, and compensate them in a way that they can be aligned to it and incentivized by it, then I think you've got a business that can do well. And that's like, I think for me with that one, it would be obviously bring someone in to operate it, obviously give them a strategy, and then obviously touch base with them like whenever I need to obviously help them and on that thing, and obviously give them incentives to obviously want to do well. Like, don't be greedy and say, oh, I want 100% of this, and the person's there thinking I'm doing all the work and being like, oh yeah. Because people, like, I've realized people might say I'm wrong about this. I'll just say majority then. I think a lot of people innately are selfish in their own, for their own selfish thing. So 100%. As a person, you have to understand that. And you have to understand like what are the scenarios where someone can backstab me or what like that, or be begruntled or be unhappy in their position. So for me, it's like, okay, cool. If I can remove that in the best way I can, then hopefully they'll be able to feel like, one, obviously they feel like it's their business as well, and then two, obviously they're going to do their best to make sure it does well. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. I love that. Good luck in the negotiation.
Yeah, thank you.
And then you did a second business, which was a label that you co-founded called Black Diamond. I think in about 2017.
Yeah.
It was an imprint of Warner Music UK.
Yeah.
I guess what was the motivation? Because that's like a different business. That's different to your job, the job that you were doing, and it's different to your first business. Although kind of, I know it's background music and other types of music, but it's slightly different. Record.
Yeah, there's definitely it's definitely different. But it's different. But again, like the thought process behind it is somewhat similar, because essentially you're monetizing someone's IP.
Yeah.
Someone creates music, you're monetizing the IP. And that's how I think, obviously it's weird, and artists are artists. Right? They're not product and stuff like that. But in terms of like when I think about things, obviously I feel like I know how to monetize IP in different shapes and forms, and obviously music's another vertical and channel to do that. And when we started, we didn't have Warner Music from the beginning, so I don't want everyone to think that, oh, we started a business and then Warner was our label. But essentially, again, you have to think about, like, look at the market, and everyone knows this, labels don't do artist development. And I think everyone used to complain, oh, labels don't do artist development. But then when you're in the label, you understand why they don't. They're not great at doing artist development. Their job is not to build someone from scratch and then build them to big. They used to do that before.
Yeah.
When obviously they were making like huge amounts of money and CDs and all of that was it. And you would buy like an album for like £10 and 50, no, even more. like 10, 15 pounds, and they're making a lot of money. It made sense for them to, because the risk profile to do that, the risk reward profile is actually sick. Because if you sign 100 people and you get 10 of them doing really well, that 10 will outpay all the money you've paid for that 100 artists. But now obviously when iTunes came and Spotify came, the risk profile was different. Like they couldn't do that because their thing was like, let this artist build traction and then we'll invest our money. Because we know how to, when the artist has got like fires or like little fires, we know how to like take that into like a big burning like furnace kind of thing. But if there's nothing, we're not good at that. We're not set up to do that. And some people feel aggrieved by that, but I understand. It's like now, like on a business, it was a business and you was fundraising, some VCs won't come to you when you've just started an idea. They'll like work the idea a little bit out, figure it out a little bit, because you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be like, you're going to try and, for a musician, you're going to try and find your audience and what your story is. For a business, you're going to find like product market fit. Do that kind of thing. And you might get money from like, for artists like investors, or from a business like family and friends we were talking about before. Do that, and then once you've got traction, as a VC, we can come in and help you turn it into like, from like 1 million annual revenue to like 50 million annual revenue, because we know how to do it. We have the right contacts, we know our skill sets. And the same with a label, like from the start, I can't help you that. But once you've got traction, once you're getting like a certain number of plays, then I can go, you know what? I can get you into this show. I can get you into radio. I can put you on this playlist. I can do that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my thinking, and that's obviously why we started. Our goal was to invest in the artists at that earlier stage, build the infrastructure out of them, and then obviously partner with a label to upstream it. Obviously we did that, and lucky enough we were offered label deals from like Universal and then Warner as well. And obviously we decided to go with Warner at the time, and then we were there for 3 years. 3 years, which was fun. It was interesting because obviously, even though I've worked in corporate, it's like you've got your own business, startup, and like everything's nimble. You can make decisions. Like me and my business partner, we can be talking and we make a decision and we do that decision. When you've got a corporate company, like essentially an imprint or like your mothership or whatever, like that kind of thing, you have to go through them about certain things. And there's a lot of this red tape and stuff that you have to go through, which I understand because obviously they're a big organization, so there's different procedures they go through. But from a startup, you're like, I don't need all of this bureaucusy and all of that kind of thing, 100%. Which obviously stifles you sometimes. And then but like I said, I learned a lot. I think every position I've been, I've learned a lot that's helped me in what I do now. That's mad.
So I read that you had the artist Mulali. Do you have any other artists that you were
there was
at that time?
There was a couple artists, and I think it was more like single deals that we used to do kind of thing. Because for us, it was like at the time Spotify was emerging, and singles were like a big thing around it, and getting on certain like playlists and stuff like that were huge. So being able to like get your artist or track on like certain playlists was like huge, because we would get like, even for Mulali at the time, we were doing tracks where we were getting like millions of plays in like 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, and obviously back then, that wasn't happening. Like labels were still trying to figure out how to do Spotify. So we luckily found a way to understand it and to leverage it. And we did well with that one, to be honest.
Yeah, and then that was another one you exited.
Right?
Second one that you exited. Mad. I guess why? Why did you decide, okay, I'm out again? This is the business I'm done with?
I think with me, it was two things. One big thing, and this was just before my brother died. But I think my brother's death really, really amplified this message to me, which was, death obviously is real, and what do I want to be known as? And being known as someone who owned a label with Warner is not really great. And I think the ego in me would be like, like you own, like, I'm not gonna lie, when we signed our deal, everyone congratulating you, I'm so proud of you, all of that kind of thing. Like, it really boosts your ego, and I think sometimes it like distorts your view of the world, kind of thing. And I understand why some people who might get money or fame or success very early on sometimes turn out the way they turn, because it really distorts your like view on the world kind of thing. And obviously as you go through life, I felt like for me the goal was not to just be known as a label owner. Okay. It's to be more than that. And I think after my brother's death, it really hit home in terms of like, what impact am I making? Like if I died tomorrow, if tomorrow's my last day, like can I say that I've impacted people's lives in the way that I want to impact people's lives? And at that time, I could say no. Okay. Like being like wholeheartedly, I could say no. So yeah, it was that kind of moment that made me obviously think about like CCV, the company now that I run.
Okay, so that was the motivation behind.
Yeah, it was a big motivation. I think Creative Control Ventures, because my thing was like I wanted to make impact in a way that I felt like I can do best, which is obviously monetizing the IP. Yeah. But obviously the natural way to do that is not going to do that. And I think what was great about it, I think, or what the ka-ching moment was when I saw obviously Rihanna with LVMH, and Fenty. Yeah. And the great thing about that deal is that, or that venture is that obviously I don't know how it worked out, but Rihanna worked with LVMH or their incubator called Kendu, and they created a product that served the audience that wasn't really served by those makeup brands before. Yeah. So she got a niche, and obviously had the infrastructure of LVMH to help like take it globally. But the bigger thing was that when I heard about when women were using it, and how like amazing it was to have Fenty, and how amazing it was to find like a foundation in your skin tone, like you really saw the impact, because people were saying like, now I've got this, I don't have to like mix tones. I feel more confident, I feel more bold. And you're seeing how a product, you can just see a product can actually transform someone's view of how they feel themselves. Yeah. And that's really, really impactful. And for me, I was like, wow, product is actually impactful. I think sometimes on a service level, we see product as, oh, this is a utility thing, so this serves a purpose to do this. But then there's some products that actually serve more than just the utility of itself. Like, for example, makeup, you want to look nice, whatever, but the impact it has on that person is so transformational. Like, I feel more beautiful. I can walk into like clubs and I feel like I'm the queen bee, or whatever, like that kind of thing. And that was powerful. And for me, the goal was to then create a business where, again, we work with celebrities that create products that enrich the lives of consumers. And that's our goal. And I feel that's our guiding light when we choose what products we want to work with. Like, there's been some products that like huge celebrities have come to us and say, can you help me do this? And we're like, you know what? It doesn't fit in terms of like this framework of what we want to do, because we don't want to create a product that is damaging to someone's life. So there's certain product categories that we would stay away from. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I love the fact that you know, you're talking about something, and I read it somewhere. I think it was either in a news article about you or
you've done a lot of reading. I like it.
I've done a lot. Yeah, I always do a lot. I've got to, you know, and I feel like that's my way to say that I respect who I'm bringing on, right?
Thank you.
But you know, where you're talking about impact over profits, and that's it. That's what you're talking about right there, where you're saying you're turning down celebrity. A lot of people wouldn't, you know. A lot of people would be like, yeah, I'll take your 1 mil. I'll take your 10 mil. I'm going to develop it. Yeah. And I think, you know, and I've been seeing this a lot nowadays, right? It feels like, I'm going to just say, it feels like people do anything for money. And absolute anything and everything for money. That's become the target. How much money can I get? It's like some people no longer have morals anymore, no kind of standards, no kind of, you know, I will never, there's certain things, there's no amount of money, it doesn't matter how much you give me, $1 billion, I'm not doing it. Do you know what I mean?
You know, but the thing
I don't know why.
Do you know what it is that I think I'm fortunate that's happened to me is that if you like, okay, yeah, I think the thing that's fortunate about me is that like I can make so much more money if I wanted to. And if I wanted to go into like certain things. And sometimes you do think like, oh, if I did that, I would do it. But I think I'm at a stage where I'm comfortable when it comes to like my finances and stuff like that. So I'm not like rushing to make money all that kind of thing. And I think I'm a place where if the money goes against like my values, I wouldn't do it, because for me, the byproduct for success, whatever you do, money will come. If you do something bad, if you do something great, money will come. And I'd rather go on the side where it's more on the better side than go on the other side, because again, my brother's thing reminded me that we're all gonna die. And do you wanna make money from doing things that are like crazy, or things that like, if you was to tell your mum, oh mum, you know what, I'm doing this, that she will be like proud of you.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't, it's not worth it. And even if I make 50% less of money that I could have made in my life, at least I can say, you know what, it is what it is. I did good in the world, and like I said, I left my mark or my imprint on it, and I didn't have to forgo my values to do it, to be honest. Yeah. But I think there's some people that, and I don't want to say I get it, I understand, but there's some people like who probably aren't in the same like financial situations where they have to figure out how to make that money, to be honest. So that's why, again, I'm talking from a place of privilege in terms of like, I don't have to do everything to make money. So I don't have to go like do things that are against my values to make money, to be honest. But I commend the people that are in that situation but will still not do it. It's like they will do it like things the right way. I commend them the most, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. I think, you know, good luck to those people. Keep grinding. Keep grinding. No, because grinding, you know, I feel like it's gonna hit different if you get to where you need to get to. You can safely say, look, I did it without having to, you know, because I feel like sometimes when people do that, you know, maybe let me not get too spiritual, but I feel like sometimes there's a part of you missing. It can, if it's that deep, you get what I mean? If it's something that you're really against and you're like, and then you go against that, I think it can hit you different. Yeah,
definitely. Like,
you know
even
what I mean,
like,
it can really, you're not going to be happy with it. You know?
Like even like being in football and knowing some of the things that people do in football, you can tell from someone's like soul or someone's energy, like, are they really, really happy? And some of these guys are like, when I was in that space, I met so many like rich people, like millionaires on millionaires. But you can tell like when you speak to someone, like what their spirit is like, and obviously not to get spiritual stuff like that, but I think I'm a good judge of like character when it comes to like people, like stuff like that. And you can tell some people are really like unhappy, even though they've got like the cars or the houses and stuff like that. You can tell like there's something about them that they're not happy with. And I think it's got to do with kind of like that, because I feel like you can, like I said, a byproduct of success, I feel, in business is you're going to get money. Sometimes doing the right thing is hard. And there's obviously moments in your life where you have to make that decision, like, do I do this or do I do that? But if you're good at what you do and you're persistent, you're going to make money, man. So I don't doubt that, to be honest. So yeah,
I love that message. So obviously with Creative Control Ventures, so you worked with and helped to grow some, you know, really top brands. So we talked about offline, Syps, and then Nala's baby skincare with Krept and Sasha. I guess how do you help them?
So I think the first thing is like conceptualizing what the idea is. I think some celebrities have an idea in their head. Like, for example, Krept had this idea in terms of like building Nala and creating Nala. Like, he had it from like jump, and he was like amazing to work with in terms of like, because he had like a really like focused plan of what he wanted to do. Is obviously you just help elevate in terms of like finding the right manufacturer, finding creating a brand for him. What would operation look like, go selling it into retail, all of those kind of like elements that you might not think about. We obviously helped in terms of that, and helped like build a brand like with him, get it into Boots, come up with the branding with him, work with him on the product development, all of that kind of things. And then obviously other ones are like, for example, like with Aitch, like he was someone who used to drink like fizzy drinks and energy drinks a lot of the time, and he wanted to obviously, because obviously like his hectic lifestyle, touring, doing other, like going to like unconscious being in the studio, all of the kind of things. He wanted to create something that was a little bit, or drink something that was a little bit more healthier. And it's crazy how much young people don't drink water. Like, I was amazed.
Swear down.
Like you don't realize a lot when you ask a lot of young people. Me, I can't go a day without drinking water. Like, and the thing is, like with me, I don't know why my body works like this, but I can tell when I'm dehydrated. Like, and I can't, and I'm not I don't drink fizzy drinks at all. I like juices, but I don't drink fizzy juice. But even if I have a day without water, I can feel it. Even if it's just juices, I can feel it. But yeah, young people don't like water as much as I thought they did. Yeah, because they think it's boring or the taste is not great.
They think it's boring.
Like yeah, some of the things when we did our research about it, and one of the things that we figured out is first that we had to create something that tastes nice. That's the first thing. Like everything else we had to figure out, but we had to do something that tastes nice. The second consideration is that we can't just create another fizzy drink that tastes nice but has all the sugar that everything else has, because what you're doing is just creating another product in the marketplace, and you're competing against people like Coke and Pepsi, like who've got billions of dollars of marketing dollars, or marketing spend, sorry, to obviously market their product to this demographic. So then we said, okay, cool, we've got the taste right. Now we need to make sure that it's like 0% sugar, which is obviously we had to go through like different processes with our manufacturer to obviously do that. And then obviously it was 0 calories as well. That was a huge part of it. So you can drink Syps and not feel guilty of drinking Syps.
Okay.
It has the same great taste profiles as some of your favorite fizzy drinks. And we've done like Voxbox, where we've gone out to like streets of London and got people to do like blind tasting of it. Yeah, and everyone always chooses Syps. I'm not being biased. Yeah, everyone always chooses Syps, which is great for us to see. But yeah, you're not having like, because one thing, that everyone usually says when they drink it is like, they drink it, and you know when you got a drink and you have to look at the ingredient and go, wait, what's in this? And they go, wait, this is water. And it's like, yeah. It's like, no, there's no way this is water. Honestly, I'll get you a box. You'll drink it and you'll be like, wait, there's no way this is water.
That's crazy.
No way this is water. But yeah, it's water. So yeah, and that's coming out. It was out. We had a soft launch a few weeks ago, and then now it's going into retail on the 30th of Jan.
Okay, wow. Good luck with the launch.
Thank you, man.
So you did everything. So you pretty much, not even just somebody's come up to you with a product, say, look, I need you to help me market it. You're talking about the whole process.
Yeah, the whole process,
you know, obviously coming up with the idea, creating a product, you know, testing it and all that sort of stuff. And then making sure it's good, going through, I guess, is there regulations and all that?
Yeah, some products, there's certain like testing that you have to do to make sure that it's safe for consumers to consume or use. So we do all of that, man. Like, well, it's just not me. It's not me, man. It's me
obviously
and my team.
You and your team,
me and my team, who are amazing at doing all of those kind of like different touch points. And I think for us, like, we never just wanted to be like, okay. Because some people sometimes get confused with actually what we do, and they think, oh, do you do the branding? Do you do just the marketing? And we're like, no, we worked with the celeb to come up with the idea, or even to like firm up what the idea is. Because one thing that we do a lot is the research. Like, research is hugely important because, again, there's no point just creating products and putting it into the marketplace and there's no USP or there's no need for it. For me, it's like every product needs to have a need or serve a demographic. So yeah, we look into that a lot, and make sure we create a product that isn't already out there, or there's a USP that we can really like hook onto. Yeah,
it's important. That's crazy. Yeah, I guess, how did these opportunities come up? Because, you know, Krept is obviously a very well-known rapper. Aitch is also a very well-known rapper. So it's not just like anybody that can work with them, and not just anybody that they can trust to deliver, you know, what they need.
Yeah, I think it's like, one, our proposition is quite compelling.
Okay.
We don't just say that we just help your brand. Like, we help with like pretty much, like I said, all of it. And you have to understand, like, a lot of these people are still busy doing what they're doing. So obviously Krept and Aitch. Krept's obviously got other businesses and he's still a musician. Aitch is still a musician. So he can't, like, for example, Aitch can't do like the day-to-day of running Syps. Like, there's no way he'll be able to do it because he's so busy and he's on tour and stuff like that. So obviously he's entrusted us a team who know what we're doing. Like, we've got experts in our team. This is not just, we're just winging it. We've got experts in our team who know how to create products, brand products, deliver products, sell products into retail, all of those kind of things. And it's like, for me, it's a great thing because I'm working with you to build a business. And obviously now I've essentially got an operator to operate that business for me. So that proposition is quite compelling. And the thing is like, because some people say, oh, like, do you do like merch? And for me, like, we have like a no merch zone because
no merch zone
because there's nothing wrong with merch because it's a big revenue driver for like an artist business or an entertainer's business. But for me, I always look at like, what is the value that the consumer's getting at the end of it? Yeah. And for merch, one of the big reasons that people buy merch is because I want to say, for example, merch at a concert, I want to say that I was at that concert and this is my badge of fandom for this artist or whoever it is. So that's the value I get from that. When it comes to products, the value is actually, what does this product do for me? So yes, the celebrity is going to bring the like initial hype and traction, but if the product's not good, they're going to use it once and that's it. I tried it because it's Aitch product, but do I like it? No, so I'm not going to use it again. The beauty of things like Beats by Dre or Fenty or Kylie Cosmetics or Honest by Jessica Alba is that people love the product, so they're going to use it again. And that's where you can build like actual businesses. Okay. You can't build a business from just people using a product once. You build a business by like your repeat customers and people talking about it and reviews and UGC content and all of that kind of thing. And I think that's one thing that helped with Nala's is that the product was amazing. Because imagine we brought our products with Krept and yes, everyone's like, interesting, Krept's bringing out a baby product. Like that's the first thing everyone's going to be, and everyone will buy it because of interest and intrigued about he's brought out something. But the business would have just lasted like 3-6 months. Yeah. But when you see like the UGC content that you see, or the reviews on Trustpilot, or mums talking about on their like mums group chat, or people talking like it's helped this and helped that. That's the real power of Nala's baby, and that's the real power that why people buy it. And I think like even with Syps now, like the type of content that we're going to be putting out now, you're going to see a lot of people like saying, "Oh, this tastes amazing," stuff like that. And that is the intrigue that you're going to like, oh, actually, this product tastes amazing. Okay. Rather than drinking Coke every day, I'm going to drink Syps every bit. And that's what you have to do is try and get these products to be like habitual or part of someone's like daily lives.
I love the way you describe products. I'm not gonna lie. That's so true. And you broke it down very quickly. You broke it down brilliantly as to why there's a lot of celebrities that just jump on bandwagons on certain things and then it fails, right? Like, a lot of celebrities that they sell perfumes, start selling perfumes. I'm seeing like, I'm not gonna name some celebrities' perfume going for 10, 15 pounds, so cheap because they can't. They probably want it at premium prices, but it's just that they just flogged it because of their name. They're not really interested in it being useful to the consumer. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna put my name on a perfume. That's the next hot thing to do. Yeah, because some of it, like you said, and I understand why managers do it because obviously as a manager, you're trying to build the revenue of your artist kind of thing. So sometimes you'll do deals where it's like a licensing deal. I get a big upfront and then a percentage of sales. And celebrities, like they get a lot of things. And they do a lot of things sometimes, and sometimes you don't have the headspace to obviously focus on what you're doing, and that's why I love. Obviously, he's done some madnesses, but when you see Kanye when it came to Yeezy, you could tell that this guy was in love with the product development of creating what Yeezy was. Obviously, I don't condone what he's done, some of the things he's done, but in terms of like when you see someone who's like so obsessive about what each product looks like, what each product feels like, it was always going to be a success. And I feel when it comes to celebrity, because there's a lot of celebrities there's a lot of people that said, oh, do celebrity businesses even work? But then when you see like the obsessiveness that people have over their products, you can see like, for example, obviously with Beats by Dre, Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, like his thing was like, I feel like when people listen on headphones, they don't really get the studio quality. Yeah. So he wanted to create a headphones that actually has studio quality. And it was like they did the branding on that, like it was amazing. Like, and I understand why Apple do it because now, and it's so crazy this happens, but if you used to go to like a co-working space or a cafe, whatever,
if you see someone who hasn't got a MacBook, you look at them differently. You're being honest. For some reason, you look like, wait, you're not part of the cool crowd or anything like that. And it's so crazy that Apple have done that. And I think with Beats, like Beats did a thing where everyone had a Beats headphone. Like if you didn't have a Beats headphone, if you had something else, everyone would be looking at you like differently.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
It's like the same, and it's smart what they do. It's same like with trainers. Like if you had the crazy trainers, then everyone would be looking at you different. Like you're not part of the cool crowd kind of thing. And Beats done that really well. And then even like with Fenty, like again, like the women that use it and the type of products they're putting out. This wasn't Rihanna's going to be part of Fenty and the products were rubbish. From what I've heard, I don't use Fenty. From what I've heard, a lot of women do love Fenty, and even like with Skims as well. Like with Kim Kardashian, a lot of people love that product.
Yeah,
I've even got my boys who have bought the boxers now. Yeah, they got boxers. They got boxers. Yeah, or underpants or something like that.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, but yeah, it's mad. Really,
that's crazy.
But yeah, because of the positive reviews in terms of like Skims, it's done really well. And like Kim's has other businesses, but it seems to be Skims is the one that really people are. Yeah,
she got a good entrepreneur for that.
Yeah,
she got somebody that is like on point.
Yeah, Emma Greed is amazing.
Yeah. Oh man,
she's amazing. Like she's done Skims, she's done Good American with Chloe. But yeah, she's someone that you can tell when it comes to products, she's like obsessed to make sure this product provides value to the consumer.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about, like the product providing value to consumer. Like how can we make sure our products provide more value? Like that's one of my questions every day, like when I go into the office, is like, how can we make sure our product provides more value to our consumers? And that's not just the product, that could be like the way they buy the product on the website. Like how do we make our user experience better? Customer service, how can we make sure that people are getting responses at a certain time frame? All of those kind of things add to that whole experience of the consumer. So, and for me, it's like making sure that the experience from them going to buy the product, them receiving the product, them using the product, the after care of them using the product as well is really, really important.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. How did you feel when, you know, obviously you heard that Nala's baby skincare sold out within 10 minutes of launching? That's crazy.
It's crazy because I think internally we all knew it was going to do well.
Yeah.
Like I think we all knew it was going to do, but sometimes you're in this like chamber or environment where you're like, it's all internal. Like, are we just gassing ourselves kind of thing? But yeah, I think when we had the product and we saw the product, like we all knew it was going to do well. We didn't know it was going to do that well. And I think we were surprised in terms of like how it's taken off, to be honest. But I'm so happy that people are genuinely happy with the product. Like for me, that's the big thing. If people were like, if the reviews were like really, really bad, I'd be like, oh, what did we put into this one? Yeah. But like when you see like what it's done, like
it's changing. I'm
amazed sometimes where I'll just see like some of the like before and afters and see some of like the reviews and the comments and stuff like that, and you're like, wow, like we're actually impacting like people's lives like with this product. And again, it goes back to like why CCV was started, is to impact people's lives in a positive way, and we've done it with Nala's baby, and we're gonna do it with Syps as well.
Yeah. Why do you think Nala's baby, I guess, was so successful in that?
I think one, storytelling is huge important, and I think the authenticity of Krept, and this wasn't like, we didn't go to Krept and say, Krept, here's Nala's baby, promote it for us, we'll give you a bag. That's what no, that wasn't the thing. Like this was something, like this was a labor of love. And Krept and Sasha had this problem from, like they experienced this problem and they wanted to create a solution. It's like any founders out there where you find a problem and you want to create a solution to it. So I think authenticity was important about that, so people believed it. 2, it was distribution, making sure we had good distribution because we didn't just want it to be online. And then 3, the product was good.
Yeah.
The product was good and the product spoke for itself and people spoke for the product. Like we didn't have to do all the marketing. People are saying, Nala's baby's sick, Nala's baby's that. Like I remember I went to one of my friend's house and I went to the bathroom and I saw Nala's baby.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, you got Nala's baby? And it was like, yeah, like I love Nala's baby. Like, and obviously they didn't know I was involved in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I was involved in it. And I was like, oh yeah, no, like it's amazing. Like I told everyone about it. Like all the mothers I know, I use it for myself. Yeah. Like it's like seeing that was like really like, you know what, we've created something great here.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't have a child yet. So I haven't been able to experience it, but it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to in the future. And it sounds like, well, not sounds, the numbers tell the story. It's been a mad impact. Yeah, I guess in terms of like mistakes, right, that people can avoid in terms of branding. I guess what lessons, or I guess what rules should people follow, I guess, to avoid like any mistakes that could have an impact on their brand. So they want to have a positive, obviously, impact where they're, obviously it increases their likelihood of, I guess, business success.
I think one thing you have to be is that you have to make sure that your brand is not offending anyone in some shape or form. Because I think sometimes people don't realize, like even your name of your company, you have to make sure that what does it mean in other countries, like could it be offensive and stuff like that. So I think that's one thing, just making sure like it makes sense. I think the other thing is that make sure that your brand has like a call out. So for us, for Nala's Baby, it was 99% natural. For Syps is like 0% sugar, 0 calories. So that call out or that USP that someone can see, okay, cool, this is something that I can use, and this is the USP behind it. And then 2, I think like just make sure that it stands out. Like there's a lot of branding that is boring, and what you see now when it comes to like all the big corps, they all go through like a theme of branding. Like sometimes they'll be minimalistic, and you see all the brands like change their logos or their branding to be minimalistic kind of thing. But I think when you're nimble and you're on the pulse, you can create something that's really going to stand out and really going to talk to your consumers. And I think you can trial things. I feel like trialing like the ABC testing or trialing things is something that I think people might not do as much. And obviously looking at competitors and seeing what they're doing and going, you know what? Yeah. If I was to put my brand in this space, like how would it look in a crowded market? I think for us, when we are doing branding, we always look at it like from a shelf point of view. If Nala's or Syps or any of our brands was on shelf, how would it look against all the competitors? And obviously we put it against the competitors and see like, does it really stand out? Because you have to also remember like consumer behavior. Like when they go in a supermarket, your first thing is like, I'm going to buy like my weekly shop. That's the first thing I want, a weekly shop. So once they're buying a weekly shop, they have to go, wait, what's that? That looks interesting. And there's so many times I've done it personally. I'm a marketer's dream, to be honest, where I've just gone somewhere, I've seen it, like, oh, that's interesting. And I might just purchase for intrigue. And then once I've got the intrigue in there and I use it and it really is good, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm hooked. So making sure that your branding stands out amongst the crowd is important. And I think even as an individual, I think that's important as well. And I think I did that when I was applying for like jobs when I got Viacom. Is like, make sure your brand stands out amongst the crowd. Yeah,
love those tips. And again, it seems like branding is becoming more and more important as more and more people get into business. More and more products out there. And I love the call out one. I never actually really thought about that.
Yeah, what's your call out? Yeah.
That's crazy.
My thing is that, and obviously I was speaking to my friend about this as well, in terms of like, when it comes to brand and stuff like that, what is your brand promise to your consumer? Like, what are you telling them that if you buy my product, this is what I'm going to do? And make sure your brand promise, like you double down on it a lot in terms of like your marketing messaging, your packaging. That brand promise needs to stick out and say, this is what we do and this is what we're going to do for you. Like I said, for Syps, in a way, obviously we're creating something that's flavorful, amazing tasting, but it doesn't have like sugar or the calories that you might make you feel guilty for drinking. And that's a call out. The 0% sugar, 0% calories is a call out to say, this drink, and obviously it's colorful, so this drink tastes amazing, but doesn't have sugar and doesn't have calories. And you're gonna think, oh, okay, cool. That's our brand promise to our consumers.
I love that.
So, yeah.
I guess, what's it like working obviously with Aitch and Krept? Do you feel like there's a pressure there? Do you have to obviously deliver because they're such obviously?
Oh yeah, no. People? But I think it's less about delivering for them. Like, yes, obviously it's they're like huge people and amazing people, but I think it's like I said, it all comes down to the consumer, delivering to consumer. Like if something happened, like if a product, someone doesn't like a product, it's like, okay, cool, where do we go wrong? Or if a product is late, for example, it's like the pressure is like, oh, where do we go wrong? Or how can we minimize that happening next time? That's, I think, where the pressure is. Because I think Tim Amu actually said this quite well, is that I think people shouldn't quit their jobs and become an entrepreneur because they don't want a boss. When you obviously start out, like all your bosses are like your customers. So you have to make sure they're happy and stuff like that. So I love that kind of like analogy. And it's true. It's like in the beginning, the pressure is to make sure that your consumers are happy, because sometimes people underestimate the value of word of mouth. Yeah. Like word of mouth is important. And I think, especially where there's so much brands coming out nowadays, like having a consumer having time to obviously research the brand's important. So, and obviously it's part of like our marketing funnel. Like when you think about it, like the first thing you might get is you might see the brand somewhere. You go, oh, this is interesting. You see the ad or whatever, it's interesting. The next thing you're going to do is, if the ad doesn't show the evidence that it does something, the next thing you're going to do is research. So you go on Google, oh, let me check out this brand. Let me see the reviews. Trustpilot, for example, you'll see. And you'll see if it's like 1, you're not buying that brand. Even if the ad creative is the most amazing thing, and I've done that, like, I've seen something that's amazing, I think, oh, this would be sick. Go on Trustpilot, see it's 1, I'm like, okay, forget it. That's done. Or you might go on TikTok, because TikTok's now the new Google, where you might see and people are bad reviews this, bad reviews that. But if you like see an ad and you like the brand, you're like, oh, this is interesting, and you research it and it's got like 4.5 on Trustpilot, immediately you trust that brand. Yeah. Because of the reviews.
That is very.
Or you go on TikTok and you see everyone saying this thing's amazing, this thing's amazing. Then you get that trust, and that's when people will buy it. So that word of mouth is so important. And that's why it's important to keep your brand promise to your consumers. And that's why Amazon, I think they're one of their best when it comes to consumers. Like, one, obviously, so easy to buy something, you get it next day delivery. Like now, if I get something in like 5 days, I'm complaining because I'm used to getting things next day. And then 2, if you want to return something, they make it so easy. There's some brands, I won't say who their names are, that make returns so difficult. But then for me, it's like, you know what? I'm actually going to be cautious in terms of what I buy, because if I don't like it, it's going to be a hassle return. And there's so many times we've all probably done this where, like, you know what, it's not even worth returning. Like, I can't be bothered to go through the hassle of doing that. But Amazon, where for me, I will just buy, like, sometimes you just buy loads of things. Like, if we was to all go through how much you spend on Amazon, I think we will all go crazy. But they make it so easy. They make it so easy to buy stuff and make it so easy to return stuff. It's like, and I love that. Like, I know Jeff Bezos is so like honed in terms of making sure the consumer experience is important, and I think that's one thing I take like inspiration for, in terms of like making sure consumer experience is good. Obviously there's mistakes that we make, but obviously we learn very quickly and amend them and ideate and all of that kind of things to make sure it's better.
I love that. Thank you, David. You know what? This conversation has been great. I definitely have to do a part 2, because like I've got so many more areas and topics that I feel like I can discuss with you, and I think that like the audience would get value from. Like, it's been really great hearing your story.
Thank you.
It's been really great. No, you're welcome. Like, it's my pleasure. It's been really great. Like hearing like what you're doing with creative control, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Syps grow, seeing like the other brands that you work with in the future, and keep doing your thing. Like, I think it's very it's important that we have voices in the entrepreneurship space, right? Because again, UK, I think it's getting there, but it's not quite there. So I think your experience is quite valuable, because somebody's going to be listening to this that wants to start their own business, or might even be in business right now, and they think, okay, this is something I need to continue with, kind of like how to kind of steer my way in the right direction. So I really appreciate you coming on. I guess where can people find you if they want to obviously?
So I'm on all the I'm on socials, but yes, I'm on Instagram at DOLUSEGUN. Twitter is DFOLUSEGUN. I know this is long. And LinkedIn, it is linkedin.com/IN/DOLUSEGUN. But I think even if you Google my name, you should see me about. Okay. So yeah, I'm all about.
Amazing. Yeah. Do you have any final words for the audience?
I think there's two main things. Is that if you want to build a business, or if you're working and you want to go up the ladder, it's like find like what your value is and really, really double down on it and showcase your value to your boss, or create value in your product or services, because your consumers or your boss will love it, and also have a mindset and attitude of serving others. Like for me, like when you feel like you're serving others, and I know some people hate the word serving, but I think the heart of someone who serves is so important. And I think things will happen for you like you won't even imagine if you have that mindset of like, I'm going to serve this person and I'm going to offer as much value as I can. And that value could be like learning new skills to help you become better in your job or whatever like that. Trust me, like those two things will help you propel like a lot.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No, we're
definitely gonna do part 2. That's happened because I got a lot more questions, a lot more areas that I want to kind of delve in, especially in the branding. I think is becoming very interesting because obviously now you got the personal brands. That's like
that's
I wouldn't even say that's even an emerging space. That's been around for a while, but a lot of people are now more focused on that than the traditional brands, which is very, very interesting because I feel that kind of gives an opportunity. So that's something that we'll
definitely. Like I've seen an emergence of people building a personal brand, and I feel like what's happening now is that CV, not to say CV is redundant, but CV is becoming more redundant, and personal brand is the thing that is becoming more prevalent. Yeah. Because like the first thing when you see someone, when you talk to someone, the first thing you're going to Google. I always say sometimes like your CV is, especially in entertainment or whatever, your CV or your Instagram or your LinkedIn, everyone's going to search you. And if there's nothing there or there isn't some sort of like messaging or personal brand, people might go, okay, is this person real or something like that. But if you start building a personal brand and people Google you, they go on your LinkedIn or they go on your thing and they see some sort of like activity and they go, oh, this person's interesting, then yeah, you can do a lot. And there's so many like connections and opportunities that come from like building a personal brand. Like it's crazy. So yeah. But yeah, part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you, audience, for tuning into this episode of the podcast, and we'll see you next week's episode.